After winning our third straight game in a row and keeping the Dallas Mavericks to under 100 points while also keeping Luka Doncic very quiet on the night, can we safely say that the Toronto Raptors are back to their best? Let's get into it. Welcome to the Raptors Roundup on Amateur Hour Sports, everybody. This is the segment on the channel where we go through the Raptors night from the game before. We take you through a brief overview of the game, we run through a synopsis of proceedings, and then we give you 3 takeaways to go on into the future with. And this is Amateur Hour Sports, the channel where you get NBA content with a focus on the Toronto Raptors at least 4 days a week. So if it is your first time here with me today, you like what you see, you want more of myself talking about the Toronto Raptors in videos just like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Show your support, join the movement of the channel as we just hit 1,800 subscribers on the channel. Thank you so much for all the support pouring in, and thank you so much everybody who joined the live stream last night. If you don't know, we're already live streaming on the channel. We do watch alongs for the games. It was very fun last night. Make sure you go check that out for the next game on Wednesday night against the Miami Heat. Look at some of the great content you missed out on by not being there last night. Come on, Larry, hit this. Norm, hit this. Let's go! A lot of fun. Make sure you're there Wednesday night. So let's get into a bit of an overview for the game. So the Raptors come to this game knowing that this is going to be a very tough stretch of 6 games. They've got the Mavericks, then they have Miami Heat back-to-back, the Indiana Pacers back-to-back, and then Milwaukee Bucks round off those 6 very difficult games. Now, coming into this game, we know that the Dallas Mavericks are pretty injury depleted, and the Raptors have some momentum here. The Raptors, who are coming off back-to-back wins against Charlotte, albeit you know it's only against Charlotte, the Raptors are coming off back-to-back wins, and they're sitting at 4-8. The Dallas Mavericks coming off back-to-back nights. They played the Chicago Bulls the night before, and like I said, have a lot of injuries, a lot of players missing for the game. So the Mavericks are going to be very tired. The Raptors, who are fresh and have momentum, look like this is a game they can really take over. But then again, Luka Doncic plays for the Mavericks. So how are the Raptors going to be able to stop Doncic from being himself? Well, the answer was Stanley Johnson. So let's get into the synopsis of the game, starting with the first quarter. Aaron Baines starts yet again for this one, and honestly had an improved performance compared to other games. Got more than just the start of the game, ended up starting the second half as well, and made some decent moves on defense, but still wasn't great. However, let's look at it as progress for Aaron Baines here. It was a slowish start from the Raptors. They couldn't hit their shots, and Luka was getting a lot of little small foul calls to give the Mavericks some momentum. And even though we aren't shooting well, the Mavericks aren't shooting well either. And this is a pretty ugly game in the first quarter. Nobody really hitting their shots. The Raptors have to do a decent job of keeping Kristaps Porzingis quiet because we lack a lot of size. He's going to get a lot of looks in the mid-range. He's the unicorn. He's going to get his looks, and we're going to have to live with that. But what we can limit is the Dallas Mavericks hitting threes, Luka Doncic if possible, and hopefully keep ourselves in this game despite shooting very poorly early on. I was expecting a high-flying game with a ton of points, and we were treated to the exact opposite because it was more so a defensive showdown, especially for the first 3 quarters. So we get into the second quarter where we're seeing Chris Boucher come alive off the bench again. He has a legitimate shot at not only the MIP, but the 6th Man of the Year award because he comes off the bench and gives you a clean 20 points basically every night, at least giving you 15 off the bench. And he's hitting his threes, he's getting his points on the interior, and he's hitting his free throws, as well as being a stellar defensive piece. Just fantastic again from Chris Boucher. Norman Powell comes off the bench and is also alive, going to the rim, getting tough layups to fall, not relying on his 3-point shot as much, but getting to the rim. This is exactly what we need to see from Norman Powell going forward, and it was very good to see him starting to actually grind to get to the rim more so than just settle for his shots. Great stuff from him again. Despite Boucher and Norman Powell really thriving this game, Pascal Siakam was struggling and settling for a lot of threes, and really stupidly settling for a lot of threes. Had a lot of early threes in the shot clock, front rimming them, was just not on it in the first half. Ended up going into halftime shooting 1 for 9 from the field. So lots of work for Pascal Siakam after that first half. We were playing great defense on Luka Doncic and decent defense on Kristaps Porzingis, but because of his sheer size, we still couldn't quite do enough to keep him quite at bay in the first half, but Still, doing a decent job defending those guys, shutting down the stars of the Dallas Mavericks team. But we cannot hit our threes, and Siakam kept on taking those 3-pointers, and I'm just wondering, why on earth does he keep doing it? Gets to the rim, and that's where he's going to get his points. He had a favorable matchup against Willie Cauley-Stein, who was not going to be able to take him as he drove to the rim. I thought that he just needed to seize that opportunity in that matchup, but he never did. So to round off the half, defense was great, and if shots start to fall, we are going to win this game, because we're shooting, I think it was 2 for 17 from 3. So if any of those start to fall, I said at halftime in the live stream, we get our shooting percentage up to about 35%, we're going to win this game no problem. We get into the third quarter where Siakam comes out a different beast. He starts attacking the rim, going straight for the jugular on the Mavericks, going right to the rim, hitting his tough layups, getting foul calls, and you know what? I saw Pascal Siakam get super amped up and smile during a game. I haven't seen that all season. It was so nice to see Pascal Siakam enjoying a basketball game. I've been longing to see that image on my screen all season, and we finally got it last night. The Raptors went on a huge run. Everybody was hitting everything, and it was the most hyped up point of the game. We go on this absolute tear. I think it was a 20-5 run capped off by a Norman Powell 3-pointer, and then that momentum kind of crumbled away when Luka Doncic on the other way, and I thought it was a travel, but apparently the referees called a defensive 3-second violation, and the Mavericks slowly started chipping away again, but they never really were quite back in the game. From that point on, the Raptors, after that huge run in the third quarter, took control of the game and saw it out. Siakam continued to be a man possessed. Kyle Lowry had a fantastic night. Almost got a double-double with 23 points. He's so consistent, a guy you can consistently rely on. Love what I'm seeing from Kyle Lowry this season. And sure, the refs are doing us no favors in this game, but the Raptors are playing too well offensively, and they're playing too well defensively for that to matter. They are rolling into the fourth quarter. And I said in the pregame that the Dallas Mavericks, coming off back-to-back nights already with a short rotation, we're going to have to take over late in the third and in the fourth quarter. And that's exactly what happened, because the Raptors, who were fresh, had their depth, took over for a very tiring Dallas Mavericks team, and we just kept on going. We kept on shooting lights out in the fourth quarter as well. We usually struggle in the fourth quarters, but it was anything but here. And Stanley Johnson, who was fantastic all game, shout out to Stanley Johnson, just getting to him now, put the clamps on Luka Doncic throughout the entire second half. And even after Doncic elbowed Stanley Johnson and a no call was made, I don't know how the refs didn't see that. Even after that, Stanley Johnson drills a corner 3 with Luka Doncic staring right at him, right over his head. I love to see that. Luka Doncic was being really pouty and really sucky all game, was just acting super soft, and Stanley Johnson took advantage, smothered him on defense, didn't give him any breathing room at all. Fantastic display from Stanley Johnson yet again. A lot of people are calling for Stanley Johnson to start at the 5 instead of Aaron Baines. And honestly, the way he's playing, you could consider it. Probably wouldn't do it just yet, but people are considering it. I prefer the bigger guy, and I think the Raptors should make a trade, but hey, keep that on your minds. I think it was for the first time this season we actually entered garbage time, where we're up by so much that we can just get a lot of bench pieces in. Like, we saw that Matt Thomas is actually alive and well. He managed to get on the court. Yuta got on the court. Malachi Flynn got on the court. It was just so nice to comfortably not sweat over a win. And, it took me until about 4 minutes to go in the fourth quarter to actually settle down and say, okay, this game is over, because the Raptors are notorious for blowing leads. Like, they really wanted to blow the lead in this game, but it was too late. They were up by too much. That's what we just need to do every game. Instead of going up by 10, go up by 20, because then it's too late to blow a lead. You're already up by too much. Regardless, the Raptors are comfortable, and they play a great game all around and win by a very, very comfortable margin in the end, 116-93. So let's get into the 3 takeaways for this game. The first key takeaway is that the Raptors are confident. This is a huge confidence boost going into a tough stretch of games. You beat the Mavericks and you beat the Hornets back-to-back. And now you go into the Pacers games, the Miami Heat games, and the Milwaukee Bucks game with this newfound confidence, this newfound belief in your own team's ability. This was huge going into this tough string of games. Second key takeaway is that the Raptors being able to shut down the opposition superstar is back. That ability is back. The Raptors are finding what they were last season. Stanley Johnson is so good. Yes, he has a case to start. Wouldn't do it just yet. Prefer the bigger guy in Aaron Baines or a trade for somebody like JaVale McGee. But Stanley Johnson is fantastic on defense. It's so nice to have, the baby OG Anunoby coming off the bench to replace him, to be that defensive stalwart when we need it. Stanley Johnson, we needed it against Luka Doncic, and he was exactly that. But the Raptors, shutting down Luka Doncic, were able to shut down Steph Curry against the Golden State Warriors. To a degree, keep CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard a little bit quiet in the Portland Trail Blazers game. Our ability to take away the other team's superstar from having an average night for them is alive and well, and we need to keep doing that over this next stretch of games. Third key takeaway is I think that this Raptors team is back. We started the season 1-6, and since then we are 4-2, and those 2 losses were by a combined margin of 2 points. 1 point loss to the Warriors, 1 point loss to the Trailblazers. But 4-2 since going 6-1, we are a confident team right now. We are a confident team who's rolling. We're hitting shots. We're getting to the rim. Pascal Siakam is finding his feet. Everybody looks like they're back in rhythm. Fred VanVleet just needs to find that early season form again. He struggled over the last few games, but I'm not too worried about that. A lot of guys are contributing. Our bench is contributing. I associate the Toronto Raptors with probably 4 key metrics. Let's go with the first one being the ability to shut down the other team's superstar. That's one of the things. The second thing is keeping teams under 100 points. The third thing is hitting 3-pointers in transition, which is what we are doing now. And the fourth thing is bench scoring, big time bench scoring. And we're getting all 4 of those things right now. It's so fun to watch this Raptors team seemingly finding their feet. I think we can say this Raptors team is going to recover after that tough start, and they're going to slowly chip away and hopefully get themselves back to 500 sooner rather than later. What did you guys make of this game? Who was the best performer for the Toronto Raptors in this one? I'm going to go with Kyle Lowry. Let me know all of your thoughts and opinions on this game and how we're going to do over the next 5 games in the comments down below. But that wraps it for me for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you are here, please like the video. If you like, and subscribe to Amateur Sports for more content just like this. As well, we got all the live stream content as well. You get 4 videos a week on the channel, as well as at least 3 live streams, so make sure you are part of that. Don't miss out on the fun on Wednesday night as the Toronto Raptors take on the Miami Heat. I hope to see you guys there for the live stream. At the end of the day, I believe what I say. If you disagree, that is okay. We'll see you again next time for another video.